Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us for our live virtual hiring event. My name is Shannon McLean and I work in the Human Resources Division for the Park Authority. I just wanted to take a few minutes before we get started to talk you through how this event is going to work. As I mentioned, this is a live event that we're hosting to give interested applicants information about various divisions with job openings here at the Park Authority. Today, we are going to be focusing on positions available at our managed parks and at our farmers market. You may see at the top of your screen that this event is being recorded, and a recording will be available on our jobs website in the coming days. In a moment, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Rita Peralta, who's going to discuss positions that are available at Riverbend Park. After Rita's presentation, we're going to hear from Chris Goldbecker on additional positions that are available at managed parks. And then finally, we will hear from Nicole Connors about open farmers market positions. If you have any questions throughout this event, please type them in the Q&A section. We will be addressing questions at the end of the presentation, but please go ahead and enter your questions at any time. We do have folks monitoring the Q&A who may respond while the presentation is still underway. Also, I wanted to point out that under the Q&A section, there is a featured tab. Please make sure you're checking that for published announcements, as we're going to put in there a link to apply directly for any of the jobs that you hear about here today. Also, if you think of any questions after the event, we will also put an email address in this section that you can send any additional questions to. So bear with us as we flip through the slides. There is a small lag time, but hopefully it won't be too bad. And if we are ready, we will go ahead and get started. So Rita, if you're ready, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Thank you, Shannon. So I'm going to be talking to you about positions that are available at Riverbend Park. And Riverbend Park is part of the Resource Management Division at the Fairfax County Park Authority. So we work to protect natural resources. And Riverbend Park is one of the parks that Fairfax County Park Authority has that is riverfront, and we have the Potomac River that passes through. If I could get the next slide. Our main goal is to fulfill our mission to protect the biological communities and cultural resources of the Potomac Gorge, while providing natural space for education, research, and outdoor recreation that is compatible with the preservation goals. So at the core of all of the different positions that we do have at the park, our main goal is to protect those resources. So the next slide. Some of the positions that are available now include a full-time position that is the park grounds and facility maintenance leader. We also have some seasonal positions, including one that is part-time year-round maintenance and natural resource staff in more seasonal marina operators, as well as we share management of Scotts Run Nature Preserve, which is another riverfront park that does not have permanent staff, but we do have, we will be hiring maintenance and trail monitoring staff there. I'd like to share a little bit more about each one of these positions, so I'll go through some of these. The first one being the full-time position, which is the park grounds and facilities maintenance leader. This is, again, a full-time position. It actually will be closing tomorrow, so anybody interested would need to get their applications in sooner than later. This position is critical to getting, accomplishing our goals in our mission of protecting the resources. This person will work closely with me, the natural resource manager, at Riverbend, and also doing some work at Scotts Run. It is a supervisory position, so leading some of the part-time staff at maintenance staff is one of the duties. And this person will ensure proper equipment and maintenance, as well as be in charge of grounds and facilities maintenance. So it's one position that does require different skills and broad range of knowledge that has to do with maintenance. The other position that we have is an E-status position. This is a 1560 position for a maintenance and natural resource person. The focus of this position will be to work more with the natural resource projects that we have. They encompass trail work and non-native invasive plant removals and other projects, including working with volunteer groups, which is what the picture depicts there. But being part of the maintenance staff also means that this person would have opening and closing duties, as well as helping when needed, including with some of the marine operations. There's a lot of shared work because sometimes that's a need. So, and it does also include some janitorial and maintenance duties to go along with that. The other positions that we have opening at Riverbend have to do more with our marina operations. Next slide, please. And the marina attendants work basically Friday through Sunday to support the marina operations. We take safety very seriously at our park, especially having a river that passes by, and so safety is one of the concerns that we have. So there is training to go along with that. But if you happen to be somebody that is very much into canoeing, kayaking, that kind of stuff, this is one of those positions that you get a lot of exposure to it, and has as one of the benefits to be able to do that. This is a temporary position through October, which is when we run our marine operations, but it does include Friday, Saturday, and Sunday work. Next slide. So Scotts Run Nature Preserve is the other place that we are hiring for. Scotts Run Nature Preserve is really quite a gem in the properties of the Fairfax County Park Authority that has, because of its convenient location to 495, really been taking a lot of visitors in, and unfortunately we've seen an increase in trash and graffiti and other misuse of the park. So we are now having staff monitor on a daily basis. And so this position really is kind of exciting to be able to be part of change at really highly natural resource rich park, and trying to work to change the mindset of the users at this park. But it does include some weekday and weekend work, at least one of the weekend days, not both. It also would include some holiday work, and they would work along with volunteers at points, because we are trying to increase the engagement at the park. Next slide. So if you do work at Riverbend or Scotts Run, what are you going to be expecting as far as our how we're going to deal with COVID? That's the elephant in the room. We really take safety seriously, not only with customers, but also with our staff. And we right now, if you were to work at Riverbend, we do have mandatory face mask or coverings indoors and while outside, whenever within 6 feet of anyone. We're limiting the number of people that are working indoors. So all the positions that you saw highlighted, they are outdoor positions mainly. So they will be outdoors most of the time. So that means also you would have to be sure that you're okay with dealing with some of the heat and so forth that we have this time of year. We also have protocols to clean and sanitize our high touch areas and all indoors, but also in our restroom facilities and other places, and including our vehicles. So anytime any staff take a vehicle out, they are cleaning and sanitizing before the next person. We are also adjusting how we deal with boat rentals for the marina staff. We have a ticketing system that allows us to limit the amount of people that we put out. And so that way lessens the chance of crowding and therefore potential exposure. We do provide gloves, face shields, and masks as part of our PPE to keep everybody safe. And so those are the positions that we have highlighted at Riverbend and Scotts Run Nature Preserve. Thank you, and I'll go back to Shannon.
Thanks, Rita. So if you do have any questions about Riverbend specifically, like I said, go ahead and make sure you're putting that in the chat, and we will address all the questions from all of the different areas at the end here. So now I'm going to turn it over to Chris Goldbecker, who's going to talk about some other open positions at the managed parks.
Thanks, Shannon. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris Goldbecker, and I am the section manager for the managed parks, which next slide, it includes Burke Lake Park, Lake Fairfax Park, Lake Accotink Park, and Clemmy Jontry Park. These 4 parks, 3 of them are lakefront parks that are each 500 acres or more in size. They include marinas, amusement features, campgrounds, and picnic areas. The marinas will include boating such as rowboats, pedal boats, kayaking, tour boats, and personal watercraft launches where the public can come in and put in their own boats. Our amusements generally consist of mini golf courses, carousel rides, and some train rides as well. The campgrounds will have probably between 100 and 200 sites at each campground. We allow people to stay for up to 1 night, up to 2 weeks at a time. The picnic facilities are very vast, I would say, at the parks. We have shelters that hold up to 200 to 500 people. In them, we have first come, first served picnicking. And on any given day, on a weekday, we could easily see 1,000, 2,000 people. But on weekends, we can see as many as 12,000 people come through these parks a day, which is very high. And those would probably be your Labor Day and Memorial Day weekends that we would see that many people in a single day. Next slide. So the employment opportunities that we have at this moment are a park attendant position, a maintenance assistant position, a Burke Lake Park train driver position, and a manager on duty position. Now, I say position singularly, but there are several positions available at each park under these subheadings. The park attendant, next slide, is a seasonal position. We have availability at all 4 parks. The hours are generally 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And if you look at the duties, they do vary by the park. They consist of everything from interacting with the public to running the carousel, to running the mini golf course, to helping out at the marina, putting boats in, being a cashier, and just generally helping out around the park as needed. Next slide. Our maintenance assistant positions that are available at all three parks are generally exactly what it sounds like. It's a maintenance position that will help out with keeping the grounds clean, small projects such as repairing fences, working on disc golf courses. You can see the guys there in the picture clearing debris. They're going to be mowing, they're going to be weeding. Pretty much the maintenance guys are all in charge, and girls are all in charge of keeping the park beautiful and safe for the public. Next slide. This next position, the Burke Lake Park train driver position, is somewhat specific and unique in what is required of our applicants. You'll see that the driver's license is required for this train. This is a rather large train. It's a miniature CP Huntington train that will hold 55 people in the coaches plus the driver, and you can see the picture of it there on the tracks. This is a train that is all metal. It's very heavy. I've driven it myself. It's a little, I don't want to call it tricky, but you've never felt anything like it. It's not like a car at all. We're talking about an engine with metal wheels on metal rails, so there's very little tactile feedback, whereas when you're driving your car, you can kind of feel the bumps in the road. This is not like that at all. And because it is so large and heavy and it's carrying 55 people, we have to be very sure about the driver and the driver's ability to handle this train. It is a great job and families love it. But if you are interested, please make sure you have a driver's license and that you're prepared to deal with hundreds, if not thousands of people a day, generally with smiles on their faces. And being happy to be there. But the train is definitely a very special amusement that we have, and we're looking for the right person for it. Next slide. The manager on duty positions, we have we have only a few of right now. The manager on duty positions are managers of the park. When they are working at the park without the oversight of the general manager, they are basically the face, the name, the authority of that park while they are working. So most likely the general managers are going to work 9 to 5, maybe Monday through Friday. Most of them will work at least one weekend day. But our parks are open sunrise to sunset. And some of our operations begin at 9 in the morning and some of them don't close till 9 at night. So the general manager is not always going to be at the park. So we need to recruit and hire the right people who have very strong communication skills, leadership skills, very positive minded people that are good with the public, and people that can make decisions on the fly. The manager on duty is going to have to familiarize themselves with all sorts of park policies, rules, and regulations, but they're also going to have to sometimes make a decision in the heat of the moment. So we're looking for very responsible people that are going to never miss a shift, people that are going to be able to make the right decisions based on policies and emerging situations. And also this position, like I said, it really is the acting manager of the park when the general manager is not there. Next slide. So our COVID procedures are going to be very similar to what Rita said about Riverbend. We are enforcing social distancing at all times for our amusements and our marinas. We've put out markers in the queue, if you will, to separate, I guess, people or families that are waiting in line. We separate them by at least 6 feet. We have the online ticketing modules trying to reduce the lines and the amount of people that are coming and showing up at the windows. If any of you are interested in a park attendant job, if you're working as a cashier, we have plexiglass shields that when the customers are interacting with you, they're not able to breathe at you, or they can breathe at you, but it won't get through the plexiglass shield. So we have taken plenty of measures such as gloves for staff, face masks for staff, face shields for staff. lots of personal protective equipment. We also clean all the high-touch surfaces regularly. If you are working in an area where there is constant contact with the public, we'll be wiping that down almost every transaction, if not every transaction, then regularly, multiple times an hour. And if staff are sick, we ask that they let us know ahead of time and that they not show up to work. And if somebody does come down with some symptoms during the workday, we of course remove them from the common areas, any shared use areas, and we send them home and point them in the direction of the safety officer and/or health department to make sure everything's okay. Next slide. These are the points of contact at the park. Keith O'Connor manages Burke Lake Park. Sarah Oberther manages Lake Fairfax Park. Dan Grolke manages Lake Accotink Park, and Maria Carpenter manages Clemmy Jontry Park. Now, Luca's got the email address in the Q&A, so you would want to reach out to Luca at that email address. But if you did have some site-specific questions or you wanted to arrange a tour to walk through and see what's going on, there are your points of contact for each park. And I think that might be it for me. So I'll just give it back to Shannon.
It is. Thank you, Chris. So now I'm going to turn it over to Nicole Connors, who is going to talk about the farmers markets positions that we have open. Nicole, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Shannon. I am excited to be here with you guys this afternoon to explain two opportunities that we have with farmers markets. Next slide, please. I'd like to share first details about the Fairfax County farmers markets. The mission of our farmers markets is to provide residents access to locally grown products and create market opportunities for area farmers and food producers. Both of these positions we have found are very appealing and attractive to folks who enjoy and share a passion for food access and creating local opportunities. Next slide, please. So let's take a look at our markets by the numbers. The Park Authority is responsible for operating 10 markets in the county. Markets, they open in the spring in April. They begin to close in October, but we do have 3 of the 10 markets that run through very late fall and early winter. Please know that even though markets are seasonal for us, these 2 positions are year-round positions. There is work every month of the year, preparing, prepping, running, as well as then evaluating markets. So we are busy year-round with this operation. Our farmers markets, like many Park Authority programs, are volunteer dependent. The 2 positions that we'll discuss the details on here momentarily are supported through a vast network of volunteers. It is actually our market managers that we have at every market that are there on the day-to-day operations, the boots on the ground, if you will, that are running the markets. So these positions support those volunteers. Volunteer management is a huge part of both of these positions. So if that is something you enjoy, working with others who share your same and similar passions, we welcome your application. Among the 10 markets, it represents close to 100 different vendors. This past year, we had 95 vendors, and that is approximately 23,000 square feet in vendor space. Our markets are producer only, meaning that the vendors do need to make what they are selling at the markets. It must come from within a 125-mile radius of the county. And we have a mix of vendors. Between half are your fresh produce, the orchards, the farms with vegetables and other produce. We do, and then the other half is a mix of bakery, local meats, dairies, jams, and other value-added products. And you can see here that graphic that we just saw, you can see the impacts of our markets that they have on the community, which is very impactful. Here, quickly, you can just look at the gross revenue for farmers markets among the last many fiscal years. And in 2020, we'll come in probably just about where we did in 2019. Next slide, please. So let's take a closer look at these two positions. The first position is the Farmers Market Coordinator, so the overall coordinator of the program. And the second position is the Marketing and Outreach Coordinator. Again, these are year-round positions. They are part-time positions. On average, it is about 30 hours per week. These are E-status positions, and they will not exceed 1,560 hours in a calendar year. Work is both indoor and outdoors. And we can go to the next slide, please. I think one of the best things about these positions is that they are also housed at Green Spring Gardens. Green Spring Gardens is a resource management site for the Park Authority located in Alexandria, Virginia. We're right on the corner of Little River Turnpike and Braddock Road. We are a 31-acre public garden with a mission to connect the community to natural and cultural resources through horticulture, education, and stewardship. Green Spring is proud to host the entire community horticulture program for the Park Authority, which includes not only the farmers market program, but as well as the garden plot rental program. And we also have a unit of extension master gardeners. And similarly to how what we heard from Rita at Riverbend and Chris at Managed Parks, Green Spring staff and the entire Park Authority, we take safety very seriously. So the different safety protocols related to COVID, providing PPE, wearing masks indoors, appropriately distancing ourselves from others are things that are very important to our staff and that you would see here in the office when you're working at your desk. Next slide, please. So here we see the Farmers Market Coordinator. They are going to coordinate the operation of our 10 markets. They also coordinate special events. Because of COVID, we'll see how our events will shape up for 2020 and as well into the future. Historically, we do celebrate National Farmers Market Week. That is the first week in August. And we do a harvest celebration in the fall as well. The Farmers Market Coordinator is responsible for recruiting vendor that we have at our markets. We are recruiting year-round and heavily focused on this in the winter months. There is an application cycle that happens through December, January, February. They are responsible for meetings, answering questions from returning vendors, from prospective vendors. There's a lot of administrative duties with this position, record keeping, volunteer management, working with the overall team, not only with farmers markets, as well as the community hort team, as well as Green Spring and the entire Park Authority team. Customer service is a huge part of this position as well as the next position. We always want to deliver excellent customer service. We deal with a lot of people. Our markets are serving thousands and thousands of people each week. Our two largest markets, which are both Saturday markets, one is in Reston and one is in Burke, during the height of the season, even in COVID times, we're seeing numbers close to 2,000 shoppers per week. So again, lots of interaction with people, not only our customers, our vendors, our volunteers, as well as staff. Our farmers markets also operate a SNAP at Market program, and this is very exciting. SNAP is an acronym for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as food stamps. We have a beautiful program that connects SNAP recipients to incentive dollars where they can come and actually turn $20 of their a monthly benefit into 40. So that's pretty awesome, and we're really proud of that. Currently, we administer SNAP at Market at 5 of the 10 markets. Next slide, please. So here, let's focus on the marketing and outreach coordinator. Again, this is also an E-status position, working approximately 30 hours per week. Both positions there's occasional weekend and evening work required. The 10 markets run Wednesday through Sunday. Currently there's no markets on Monday or Tuesday, so those are always good days back in the office, catching up with volunteers and vendors as well as staff. The marketing and outreach coordinator, they are responsible for a monthly e-newsletter. They create flyers, informational boards. They are responsible for the farmers market Instagram account at Fairfax Farm Markets. If you are on Instagram, I encourage you to follow us at Fairfax Farm Markets and check out what we've got going on. This position also works with our vendors on good marketing strategies, helping them to promote their business. They help the coordinator with meetings that happen every year. They also help with those events I mentioned. Again, a lot of administrative duties from collecting payments. They prepare handbooks. And again, volunteer management is a huge component of this position. Next slide, please. Both of these positions report to our community horticulture coordinator, Ms. Pam Smith. Anyone interested in applying should submit their resumes directly to Pam. Her email address is pamela.smith2@fairfaxcounty.gov. And Shannon, I believe that's going to bring us to our live Q&A portion.
It is. Thank you, Nicole. So why don't we give it a minute to catch up, because I know for the attendees there is a little bit of lag time, but in the meantime I will go over to the live Q&A and see if we can't answer some of these questions. I know that it's been monitored while we were walking through, so I'm just going to reiterate, and if there's any additional questions, I'll try to figure out who the best person on here is to ask. So give me just a second here. It looks like there have been several published announcements and a couple of questions. So the first question is, can 16-year-olds apply for these jobs? The answer is yes, but Rita, are you accepting 16-year-olds at Riverbend?
No, we do only hire 18 and over for our positions.
Okay, thanks. How about Chris? Are you all taking 16-year-olds?
We would take 16-year-old applicants for park attendants. We would also probably take them for a maintenance assistant. A manager on duty, I think we're looking for 21. And for, the train driver, that is such a technical piece of equipment. We're probably looking at someone that's got a little bit more experience operating vehicles than a 16-year-old. But yeah, the park attendant and the maintenance assistants, absolutely.
Great, thanks. And Nicole, are the farmers markets positions open for 16-year-olds?
It would depend on their availability. We would expect them to be available during the work day. They are also from time to time responsible for driving the park authority truck. So having a driver's license would be important.
Okay, great, thank you. So I think we've addressed that question. I have to scroll back through here. There are lots of links in the Q&A, so make sure you're checking that for quick and easy access to apply or to get information. Someone asked if we can post the points of contacts for the managed parks. Yes, so like I said, this is being recorded and this entire presentation will be available on our jobs website soon. So you can get it from there, as well as if you need more specific information, Luca has put into the Q&A an email address that you can send questions to, or if you're looking for more information, we can direct you to the right person for that. And that email address is fcpahcds@fairfaxcounty.gov. And it looks like that is all we have for questions right now. Like I said, I think that there is a little bit of a lag, so why don't we give it another minute or so and see if anything else pops up. I'm not seeing anything yet. So just as an aside, if anybody's willing to put in the chat how they learned about this virtual hiring event, we'd love to know. We are hopefully moving into more of the virtual world and trying to attract as many applicants as possible for our positions. So if anybody wants to let us know how they heard about this, that would be great. If not, no worries. And you can also, if you want to keep it anonymous, send an email to that FCPA HCDS email box if you would prefer. Okay, so it doesn't look like we have any other questions, so we're going to go ahead and end the live event. Thank you so much for being here with us today, and we hope to hear from you soon. Thanks, everyone.